Mwah, 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 mwah. It's your favorite art dealer here. We're breaking down Love is Blind Season 9, the wedding episodes. If you haven't seen them and you don't want it spoiled, keep scrolling. Edmond and Kalybriah. Let's start with Edmond. You know, they talk about this a little on the show. It sounds like he came from an unbelievably difficult, I might even say kind of fucked up childhood. He was in the foster care system. He doesn't have any parents at the wedding. His fifth grade teacher, who was like, it sounds like really big in his life, like talked about, like bringing him meals when he didn't have them. And I think to Edmond, getting married, it's like the family that he never really had, It's so deep and important to him. And on that note, I think Kalybriah seems like a wonderful person, but I gotta say, I got a little bit of smoke for her. She never was gonna marry him. It just seems so obvious to all of us. Hey, maybe there was some stuff we didn't see behind the scenes, but it seemed pretty obvious, like she was getting through it, and I think she was kind of putting on a little bit of an act. Even a lot of those speeches, she's so well spoken, she's really intelligent, but it seemed like there were these almost pre-rehearsed, like, monologues that she was telling him. I sensed she deeply loved him, but I also sensed that she truly never thought she was going to marry him. But I also want to give Kalybriah some grace, and there's really so much that we don't see, and maybe she really was kicking around until the last minute. Also, with Edmond, I gotta be honest, I love the guy, but he seems like he might be, a lot to handle, and it seems that there also was probably a fair amount of stuff behind the scenes. And lastly, I want to briefly talk about the I'm always the nice guy scene. I really see it from both sides. On one hand, put yourself in Edmund's shoes. You know, his fiance's told him that she's had one night stands in the past, but she wants to wait until marriage. And I think he kind of senses that Kalybriah's not really into him physically. And I think if Kalybriah was into him, she probably would have been more receptive. But in Kalybriah's defense, it's hard to just tell that to somebody. She just had the reveal, and I think she was wanted to get there with him. And I'm not saying that's the reason that they didn't necessarily work out, but I think that she felt she had to also give some reason to kick the can down the road. Honestly, her big mistake was mentioning to him that she'd had one night stands, because, it was kind of emasculating. But hey, I'll tell you what, Edmond and Kalybriah, great TV.